Ladies and gentlemen, the following are excerpts from an article in the Bathurst Northern Light dated April 8, 1998, regarding the Jeanne Sivret murder case. The article was written by now CBC reporter Jennifer Sweet, who was a Northern Light staff member at the time. The article is as follows. Sivret, the murder case. After 12 years, woman's killer still walks free. Daughter frustrated by lack of progress by RCMP in solving case. Melinda Roy was 18 when her mother was found bludgeoned to death near her home in Rough Waters. Next month will be 12 long years later, with no one ever charged with the murder of 43-year-old Jeanne Sivret. For Miss Roy, waiting to see her mother's killer brought to justice has been more than frustrating. It feels like I'm beating my head against a brick wall, said Miss Roy, who now lives in Woodstock, New Brunswick, with her 3 children. It was the morning of Mother's Day '86 when Mrs. Sivret was last seen by her neighbor walking her dog. She was reported missing at 11:15 a.m. the following day, May 12th, by another daughter. Miss Roy and her siblings searched the woods that he had played in growing up until the RCMP said they were calling in a 35-member search and rescue team. It ended up only one other officer was looking. My brother-in-law eventually found her at 8 o'clock that night, she recalled. After suffering an aneurysm 2 years ago, Miss Roy began taking inventory of her life and realized she needed the questions about her mother's death answered. It feels like it's been put on the back burner. I have to have some kind of closure, she said. Miss Roy seriously started looking into the case a few months ago after watching an episode of America's Most Wanted. She thinks a TV program like it or Unsolved Mysteries could turn up missing information. Maybe somewhere somebody could help out more than what's been done now. Miss Roy said she has contacted one such program, but it will require a copy of the case file, something the RCP is unable to accommodate. There is always a possibility one day there may be a charge laid, said Corporal Clement Tremblay of the RCP's Major Crime Unit in Bathurst. As all the information is made public, it would be difficult to get a jury, he said. Corporal Tremblay said although the RCP does not have a full investigation team on the case around the clock, it still receives some attention. Every once in a while, information comes in from NB Crime Stoppers, and we check it out. Known information about the murder has been televised through Crime Stoppers on a couple of occasions, he noted. Now, there is a suspect in the case. While the police officer could not release any details about that person, he said the RCP keeps an eye on his whereabouts. Corporal Tremblay said the suspect has also requested a copy of the file. He said Miss Roy could possibly obtain some information through the Access to Information Act, and Miss Roy feels the RCP is hiding behind legislation to prevent her from gaining access to the file. I'm not getting any specific reason, just mumbo-jumbo, she said. She noted the case was going to be closed 3 years ago until her brother fought to keep it open. Miss Roy's brother lives in Campbellton, while her 2 sisters live in Bathurst. Corporal Tremblay said her information about a pending closure could not have been more accurate because a murder file not have been accurate because a murder file is never closed until it's concluded. He said there are cases in New Brunswick that date back 15 or 20 years. He makes specific reference to a recent case in BC in which a man was convicted on the help of new DNA evidence brought in about 10 years after a killing. The techniques are getting more and more precise. It takes less of a sample to do the tests. There's always a possibility the missing evidence will be found. For Miss Roy, that day cannot come soon enough. It's been forgotten for too long, she said. It's hard to get past this when we don't know anything. I owe it to my mother to find out what happened. And again, this is an April 8, 1998 article as published in the Northern Light by then staff reporter Jennifer Sweet, who is a current reporter with CBC New Brunswick.